We got special guest here today, Phillip Russ, all the way from Florida to bring us the news from sunny Florida. Not too sunny right now, is it? Well, or have you been one of the folks down there on the beaches?
No,
No? You haven't been
when I left, it was 88, 89, and then I got home and it was 46. I was like, okay, I've been gone long enough. Now I'm frozen. Tried to mow the grass. I got off my dad's lawnmower and I called him and I was like, yeah, it's not like this in Florida right now.
It's too cold.
Yeah,
it's totally different, isn't it?
Definitely.
Weather-wise. I think the worst month down there is September, maybe, for the humidity. But other than that, it's pretty good down there with the weather. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Missed you up here, of course, on a lot of our stuff. Good to have you today. We've been rushing. I didn't even really talk to you about what's going on and everything. What's up with you guys in your school? And you're back up here, I guess, today on Friday. Are you guys doing distance learning and things like that down there from Florida? And give us the heads up on what's going on in Florida right now.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I think it's like any school system right now. Everybody's scrambling. It's a knee-jerk reaction with the athletic piece. The Florida High School Athletic Association is kind of like every other athletic association across the Southeast. They are not wanting to make drastic measures to try to end the season. We're still technically in a suspension, postponement, awaiting the next call. They moved us from March 30th to April 15th this past weekend. So April 15th, if things were to clear out, obviously they'd modify our schedule. I'll tell you that they released some information the other day to us in a memo that kind of has got colleges calling me about recruits. So the Florida High School Athletic Association is going to allow the opportunity for kids to reclassify, and that's freshmen to seniors. So you've got seniors that may have been recruited that are potentially sitting and saying, well, I'm a D2 guy, but if I get more film, I could probably go NAIA, Division I AA, and they have that option now to, reclassify. And, freshmen get a red shirt freshman year. So as a coach, it's exciting. As a college coach, it's got to be frightening. So the college coaches I've talked to in the last couple of days, actually within the last 48 hours, they've got that clearance from the NCAA where they can call and they can recruit. And so they've been busting down the door and my phone's been off the hook. And then I'm like, hey, well, recruiting these Florida athletes, just want to give you a heads up. Our state's talking about like washing out this year and allowing kids to get everything done. Now, just within our team, we played a game. It was really interesting. We played our last game against a district opponent. So I'm winning the game. It's a big game where we're doing really awesome things. And my AD comes in the dugout in the fifth inning. It's like, well, we just kind of got told the season has been canceled. So we're kind of in that dilemma. Should we finish the game? And I'm like, yes, we're up 9-0. We need to finish this game. So we finished the game. Then we had a meeting where we were talking about Saturday because down there JV plays all games on Saturdays and doubleheaders. And they were like, all right, you're going to play. And within 15 minutes, I had, you're playing, you're not playing, you're playing, you're not playing. Then they finally pushed it out like everywhere else. Now, it's been slower to move. I think North Carolina's done an outstanding job with getting the decisions made quicker. Florida has been a little bit, not in a lag. I just think that it's not got to our state as quickly. And so now we're sitting, just like everybody else now in this holding pattern. But, within range, the kids are allowed to get together on their own. There's nothing I can run, but I've got about 13 or 14 kids that are on their own, going to training facilities, hitting, throwing. But in a whole, it's just self-growth. I mean, there's a lot of coaches getting together doing, these podcasts together. I mean, it's wild. They're using all these apps and stuff. But the big thing I wanted to talk about with you guys is where the NCAA is right now. And then if let's say North Carolina takes and jumps on board with what Florida's doing, this reclassification, the last time that I could ever think of something like this was probably when the Surratt brothers came out. And, they got I think it was Chaz got the extra year because he played in a non-sanctioned school and it was like a privatized school and then was able to go technically to his red shirt freshman year at East Lincoln for 4 years.
Right.
And if they do that, how does that change the landscape of high school athletics? Because even with college, I don't know if y'all have paid attention to it, but they've now abolished the scholarship rule. So instead of you saying you're restricted to 28 scholarships, you now can have unlimited because seniors may come back to their next year. So it's definitely eye opening. We're in uncharted water right now and trying to make decisions. And I just, I hope and pray that they really think through. I think right now it's still so fresh that they're just trying to do small steps. And these decisions they're making, there's going to be so much policy and so many amendments that are going to come in because, we don't know how to do that. I mean, even as a teacher, I've talked to some of my teacher friends here in Cleveland County. They're just now learning how to build Canvas and do online learning. Like we were not prepared for this.
Right.
So on the academic athletic side, you think SATs right now are big test times.
Yeah.
So these kids aren't getting their test scores out and they're not getting feedback from the schools about scholarships and applications aren't being accepted. So all of life has been put on hold in the athletic academic stage. And there's a lot of uncertainty with high school seniors right now. And I think that's the only way to do it is to give them that option to reclassify and give them those opportunities back.
Yeah. Obviously, this has hit a lot of people like a truck, just how we've embraced it as a culture, as a society, whether it's, like you said, in the teaching world and the sports world, it's put everything really on hold at this point. But I think, I was listening to a doctor.
Real quick, what are you on?
What am I on?
Are you on the Netgear network?
What am I? No, yes, it's switched back over to Netgear.
All right, well, I'm on the KTC now, and now it's telling me I can't connect on the DNS. So it's obviously the KTC router and not the Netgear then,
It's got
right?
the coronavirus.
We've got something.
Dude, I'm serious.
Corona.
Something is happening in this area, or at least here with this internet, that it's making me want to pull my hair out.
I think it's the KTC. We're going to switch over. All right, go ahead, Hunter.
Anyways, I was just saying, I was listening. Colin is still doing his talk show, and he brought on a doctor just to kind of talk about it and kind of just lay it out, what we'll be looking for in the future. And I agree with the statement that he said. I'm paraphrasing, of course, I can't remember what he said word for word, but he said, sometimes you have to be slapped in the face with this in order to grow. He said, we're going to learn from this, and next time if anything happens like this where it's worse, we'll be better prepared for it. And I think this could be technically a good slap in the face for the educational system, and for the sports world, for them to learn from this moment. I know people could say, oh, well, we've blown it out of proportion, but it's like, you know what? We've got things to really take into consideration. We're lucky that it's not worse and that it's not got a high spread rate right now and a high mortality rate. It could be a lot worse, and I think that I think we're going about this the right way. It's just the learning process along the way to make sure that we are doing this correctly.
I think I heard it best. Our principal put out an email, and it was just kind of like, we're being given the test, and then here in a couple of weeks we'll get the actual lesson, and we'll get the study guide to it.
Yeah.
Just because if you look at the grand scheme of it, I mean, this is all brand new. Like the only people that seem to have function right now is the NFL execs with the moves and trades. They're trying to make moves and push life forward and keep doing things that are going to better their program. But in all other terms, I mean, if you look on Twitter, like, just to give a plug to Coach Pruitt, I mean, the man has Cherville's weight room right now is probably the cleanest, bacteria-free, shiny it's ever been ever.
Right.
But you've got all these high school coaches. They don't know what to do with their time. And, it's in sport, it's really cool because you're seeing a lot of guys get together now, and we're not thinking about game plans. We're talking about our athletes, but we're also, we're going online with workouts. We're going online and having digital meetings with staff. There's things that it's making the sports world stronger. Like you said, the slap in the face is you weren't prepared for this. So if this ever was to trim and fall down and happen again, will we be ready? Education wise, it's going to really, in Florida, they've already canceled all of our state assessments. The only thing left is AP. And, the biggest thing people always say was standardized testing. Teachers have always, just grumbled about that. And now it's, well, let's see how these kids learn from a digital standpoint. And there could be time to come where teachers are going to be non-existent in the classroom. It's more of a facilitation role. If we can teach digital, then maybe now on these platforms, kids are going to be still learning on spring break, on Easter break, Christmas break. The education system in the U.S. could actually get stronger through this, and we could be the forefront. Because right now, like countries like India, China, Japan, they're leading the forefront in science and math.
Yeah.
Here we kind of spend more history, English. That's kind of like our strength in America. But if you look, it's kind of going to level the playing field out a little bit. But no, like the athletic thing, I think is got everybody nervous. Is for one, you care about the kids. I mean, there's thousands of seniors in college that were told you've played 10 games and it's over. Thank you for your dedication and service. There's a lot of times that me and Kevin, we talk about the NCAA and the money that's in it. And, do you pay athletes? Do you not pay athletes? Well, now you sit here and look, okay, all of these kids are now without an opportunity. And how, April's next month.
Yeah.
What happens with the Major League Baseball draft? They do have data on kids, but the sleepers, the dark horses that you don't plan to see drafted, I mean, do they get that opportunity now? So, I mean, it is a landscape of do's and don'ts. Trial and error is going to be huge through this. But I think we're going to come from it. I pray that we never have another epidemic like we're facing right now on a global sense, because this affects, this fall was supposed to be the World Baseball Classic. And that was something that was a lot of fun for everybody.
Right.
And a football coach from Alabama, one of the staffers there, he pushed out, guys, if you don't start taking this serious, you're not going to have a football season.
Oh, yeah.
Like if we don't quarantine
100%.
and figure it out, we're going to lose more than what we're losing right now.
100%. That's why, it drives me insane when I see these videos come out from these news outlets that are down there interviewing the dumb kids that are still going to spring break at the beach. There's a case here in Guilford County here in North Carolina, and, they were wondering where it came from. It came back from Florida. Yeah. And I know you're in Florida, but
we'll keep 6 feet apart.
Yeah, we 6 feet apart. But those that are actively, practicing social distancing, I know it's hard, but I mean, they wouldn't tell us to do this if it wasn't effective, obviously. And I know, obviously, as a country, we're not as compact as Italy is, where everybody's right on top of each other. Same with China, but even still, if you don't feel good, don't go outside. I saw a kid that in one of the interviews they did, I think it was on Good Morning, on one of the Good Morning channels, and he basically was like, if I get corona, I'm still going to party. I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. But I mean, I'm glad that you actively don't mind getting the flu. Basically, and you don't mind
somehow.
You don't mind passing it to everybody else. I'm just like, okay,
die somehow, Hunter.
Well, I know somehow, but I would like to at least have a choice on whether or not I'm going to let a virus kill me or not.
Right.
And see, what he doesn't understand either is if I was down there and I was one of the people that wasn't really taking it into consideration. I've said this multiple times on here. I'm high risk. I have an immune system deficiency. Like I'm high risk. If I'm not knowing that and I'm just down there partying with everybody else, and the guy is not considerate enough that he might contract it and then pass it on to me, and then I have to fight all the respiratory problems that comes with it that turns it deadly. It's like, dude, I mean, basically that's on you. That was your fault because you didn't take into consideration, oh, maybe if I don't go out and get drunk tonight, maybe this guy that I'm sitting there at the bar with won't get sick and end up in the hospital.
Phillip, I had said something, Hunter, the other day about you just talk about the college thing. Why don't the NCAA just issue a across the board redshirt medical season? Because it's not, to me, it's not fair to the underclassmen. They lose a year.
Yeah.
No matter what. So if you say we're going to give the seniors a year, why wouldn't you just give everybody a year and say, hey, this is the same thing? As far as it doesn't change anything,
right?
In as far as athletes, all it does is makes one department have to pay the other department for how many more seniors are actually going to be per school. It's not to me, and I think the government can cover that if we really needed to do it.
Well, I think it needs to go across the whole board, though. I mean, in the saddest way, you almost have to just scrap 2020 and start. I think this fall you start back fresh now. If the kid here's my only debate that I would have is, let's say you have a high school senior or you have college seniors that, like a Jerry Jeudy, he's already paid, he's in the NFL. Like if you're drafted, you have the option to go.
Yeah.
If everybody else, you have that option to push reset and you get another year at your institution. But it has to, I think it's got to go across the board because like we were talking about in our high school.
Well, college basketball kind of does something like that where they allow you to go and at least test, go to the combine, get your workout in, see what kind of interest is there for you. And if the interest really isn't there, because, they only do, like, and it's not like the NFL and Major League. It's only 2 rounds. Like, there's not a guarantee out of the 60, 70 people that go, you're going to get picked. But, they let them go, test the water, see if there's interest. If not, then they let them come back. But it has to be by a certain time period. Is that kind of like what you're leaning towards?
Yeah, because like my only thought is you got kids that know they're getting their money. I mean,
obviously.
like Judy and Jalen Hurts and those guys in the draft, they're going. You've got baseball kids that knew they were going.
Right.
Like, I'm just thinking if you don't freeze it across the board and say everybody needs to take a reclassification year, you're just going to lose this year. Or you say nobody's going to be able to go back because here was our thing in our high school. We're at cap in our high school. We're 2,700 kids.
Okay.
We can't intake, if all of our seniors say, okay, we're staying, and then we try to intake our 8th graders, where do we put them? You're going to have severe displacement of schools.
That backs it up all the way down.
So, I mean, really, if the government comes out and says, hey, we're going to lock this all down,
well,
everybody
now, Phillip,
stays in place.
Right now, Phillip, we've got the whole summer. We've got spring break. We've got Easter break. The high schools hadn't even went to Easter break.
Right.
So why aren't we around, and especially around here, we didn't have a snow day this year. So why aren't we just pushing the schedule back right now as opposed to because to have that argument, you're saying everything's done, right, as of this year, right? To have the who gets an extra year. But, I mean, to me, I think everyone kind of has to go through the school year part is different to me than the athletic part. You're just going to have to suck it up at some of these athletic things, I believe. And you're going to have to just, I mean, if a senior sprains his ankle, during football when he's a basketball player or vice versa, and you miss your season, I mean, you don't get it back. And some things happen, in life that way. And it's really hard high school wise. Colleges, they can do extra years and this and that, but the high school thing, you're right. What are you going to do about if you're having people stay or go? Maybe with the high schools in today's high school way, you're almost not graduating. You only need a certain number of credits as opposed to years. Maybe each and every individual state can figure out some way in that to say, hey, go another semester and you've got your hours and graduate. A lot of high schools graduate in the fall now.
Yeah,
I know around here, West Lincoln even does that now. That you can graduate in December. So maybe that's an option, Phillip, is push it back a semester as far as school.
Yeah, I mean, but see, the schools. This is the academic piece that kind of floored everybody when the Florida DOE. Department of Education got down and decided they were going to get rid of all assessments. And they started looking at these testing schedules and things like that. So essentially what's being pushed down is, hey, like teachers right now, like for instance, I've talked to 2 teachers that work in Cleveland County. They're doing like shelter in place, or they can actually go to their school. They're trying to develop online lessons.
Right.
These are untested. These are unprecedented. These are things that are going to be out of the thing. They're being told by school superintendents and all these personnel, you really can't test it because how do you know if the test scores that you're getting are legitimate? Because at home, everybody's got Google. And,
you're right.
And mom and dad could be doing the work. How do you validate? I'll tell you what's driving me nuts right now is they're asking us educators to log hours to have proof that we're actually at home. So they're wanting us to take in our homes 6.5 hours, document that on paper, to say that. So how many people are going to cut corners? Like, for instance, in theory, what is your PE teacher going to do for 6.5 hours in his home? He's going to get on Peloton and record a video of him riding a bike and telling kids how good physical fitness is. How do you log those hours? And so they don't know these things. And because it's an untested platform, like,
we're going to have some PE teachers getting in better shape than they've ever been.
Well, I'll tell you,
workouts.
It's weird,
A
obviously.
good place you can find a workout, Phillip, I'll tell you what, if you want to spread your athletes around, is former Cherryville Postal 100 player Ralph Roberts, personal trainer. He posts his stuff online.
Sweet.
Follow him on Facebook, just Ralph Roberts Training. I posted off our WCSL Twitter feed is one little exercise thing. He's got different programs, of course, different things. One of them is your 30-day body transformation, and I think that would be perfect for these athletes to do. It's just basic, non-weight
like body weight
body
lifts.
weight exercises.
Yeah.
And Ralph has been featured in Men's Health magazine, top 10 trainers in the nation. Of course, like I said, former travel athlete here, and I would just get on a look. You might find some stuff you can share with you guys. And he's a Phillip. He's a baseball trainer too.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of some fun baseball videos and things like that.
Well,
you can get on and follow Ralph, and there's people on YouTube and all other type of things.
If you want to plug, this will blow you away. I know you're a Cardinals fan, but like I got a text yesterday from Brandon Nimmo and Steven Matz and Pete Alonso. Some of those guys were like, "Hey, can we do you mind if we use your field to throw?" Because the Mets shut down their facility, and they won't let these guys in.
Right.
So like they're going out, and it's just wild because it's such a weird time. Like I told my dad, I said, got an MVP out on my baseball field right now, long tossing.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 other millionaires working out.
Right.
And
have you not dared anyone to that you can't get it by you? Pick up the bat, Phillip, and say, "Come on!"
No, there's a
Bring
guy.
the heat.
I've made friends with this guy. And this was during regular season. He was throwing his bullpen. His name's Bryce Hutchinson. He plays for the Columbia Fireflies. He's trying to get on the AAA team, and me and him were talking, and he was throwing the ball, and I was like, "Do you mind if I just stand in there in your pen and just like look at it, like stand in the box?"
Yeah.
And he let that thing go, and it was about 90, 96. I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm going to stick to coaching."
Yeah, I can't do that right.
If he loses control, then
you
I'm
almost
just
have to
eating it.
immediately swing at 90.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Like I'm
It's
telling you,
just 5 to
96.
10.
It's like
I think 92. I
you
think
hear
is about
it,
the fastest
and
I've
it's
seen.
like a white faded blur.
Yeah.
And you're just swinging in a location. Like when people say, "Oh, I can see the seams of the ball," I'm like,
Doesn't that just drive you crazy?
I'm
when
like,
people
"There's
say
no way.
that?
Like,
No,
I can't be that. I can't be that blind."
no.
But no, like in this whole deal, they could. I think they are.
You
gonna
bet lefty or righty?
lefty.
Okay, I didn't know. How'd you like to see a Randy Johnson slider?
Well, well, here's the thing, like that, Chris Sale. But I mean, people forget in our Easter tournament at Burns, we faced Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah.
And that in itself, probably one of the greatest pitchers in the postseason.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
And not saying he obviously developed when he got pro, but in high school he's pretty good when
Wasn't
you're seeing.
bad.
I quit playing baseball in my middle school year because Hunter Harvey's only a year older than me, and I was sick and tired of seeing him.
There you go.
I was tired of playing against him in Optimus Ball.
You're about to be teammates from then on out,
Because
Hunter.
we knew you're different.
Yeah.
You got, obviously you've got the professional training through your father, and your brother played at least collegiate and minor league baseball. So like what your skill set is right now, you're different. And I was like, you know what? If they're gonna be like that, I don't want to mess with it.
That's it.
I don't want to mess with it.
Well, Phillip, looking, since you're a baseball coach, we'll talk a little baseball here before we get into some NFL free agency.
Gotcha.
With them, we had all kinds of things this postseason. We got the cheating scandals.
Yeah.
You had any Astros call you? No, Astros.
No.
They're in Texas.
No, but I'm gonna tell you, even kids
Arizona.
are funny. Like for instance, we had a pitcher that was shoving in one of our games.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I just hear this banging on the trash can, and I just stare at the dugout, and I say, "Time!" And the umpire come in, he's like, "Hey, you can't do that." And I say, "Hey, Blue, they got my signs or what?" Like, it's like we're gonna call a fastball here. If they start banging really fast and they're on time with hitting, what are you gonna do? And he's like, "They're just messing with you, coach. They're messing with you." I was like, all right. So the kids are still having fun with it. I mean, I've seen more Astro gear like at my baseball practice. Like, coach, we're just trying to have any edge as possible. And I'm like, all right.
Jeez.
You're gonna get pegged when you go to the plate, but good luck.
Yeah.
That's funny. So we've